With the success of the War for Cybertron trilogy, Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom coming to a close, Hasbro, I believe, is fast working on another trilogy. I predicted in my previous videos that it will be the Unicron trilogy. Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. Watch my videos. I have a 3-part video. Now, having said that, I wanted to make an alternate prediction. Just in case the Unicron trilogy doesn't pan out, Hasbro could decide, hey, it's still way too recent, or maybe they're not ready to do a redo or modern adaptation of the Unicron trilogy figures. I was thinking the other set of trilogies that Hasbro might come up with is like an animated trilogy. Not the original G1 animation, but when the Transformers franchise was revitalized with the first Transformers movie from the Bayverse universe of Transformers back in 2007. The succeeding years, we've seen at least 3 major Transformers cartoon shows that have represented our beloved characters from Generation 1. And I believe this could be an amazing trilogy. So this is my alternate prediction. I think we're going to have an animation trilogy. They could call it the, I don't know, Battle for Cybertron, or Battle for Earth, or Cybertron Earth Wars, or something like that. That kind of trilogy, just so they can redo various figures released in 3 different cartoon shows. And the first cartoon show that I think they should redo is the Transformers Animated. I think this is an amazing show. One of my favorites. Definitely my top 2 spots of favorite cartoons next to the Generation 1 cartoons. I love this show. The toys were amazing. I don't have them anymore, but I think they could still be improved. I think Hasbro can put a Generations spin on previously released Transformers figures from the animated line. We've seen a slew of fan favorite characters from this line. I love the Optimus Prime, Bulkhead. My favorite was Prowl and RC. I liked Bumblebee. He was a bit annoying, but I still liked him. Ratchet was a very cool character as well. And I think Hasbro can really do something with this series, with these action figures of Transformers animated characters. It's a very, very rich mythology. They're a little bit stylized, but I like it. I like the cartoony feel, sort of Nickelodeon type of animation that they've put on our beloved G1 Transformers. I think there is some promise here. I mean, the whole toy line was rich with amazing figures. Like I mentioned, Prowl, we've got Grimlock, we've got Starscream, we've got that Earth mode Megatron, we've got Blitzwing, Sentinel Prime. I mean, it's rich in possibilities. I think this line deserves a modern update. This line had a ton of figures that I really, really love. The Cybertron Defense Team, led by Rodimus Minor. We get the Decepticon faction with Blackout, Oil Slick. I mean, that RC figure was amazing. Jetwing Optimus Prime. I mean, this is an amazing, amazing toy line that I wish could be given a Generations touch. The next animated show I thought that Hasbro could put in this trilogy is the Transformers Robots in Disguise. So it's all Earth-based battle scenes or battle situations, or the battle climate is going to be on Earth. That's where the action is going to take place. If War for Cybertron took place in Cybertron and in space and maybe on Earth, this one is really, I feel, should take place on Earth. So starting with animated, the second installment should be Robots in Disguise. This is one of my favorite shows. I thought this was hilarious. I thought we had a great team, the great characters development. We got Strong Arm, one of my favorite characters here. We got Sideswipe, Grimlock. Oh my goodness, too funny. And of course, Bumblebee trying to be the leader of the group. I think this deserves a modern update. And throughout the course of this show, we were introduced to Windblade, the first animation appearance of Windblade. Well, if you count Machinima, okay, fine, maybe second. First or maybe second. I think one of the earlier appearances of Windblade, and I fell in love with that character. I love to see a modern rendition of all these characters. You got Drift, you got that really nice Optimus Prime. I mean, come on, Hasbro, you gotta do this. The toy line, well, it was okay. There are a lot of great figures, but the entire line wasn't at par, in my opinion, with the animated line. It was a great direction on where the toys could have gone. The precursor to the Cyberverse line, I thought it was a good effort on Hasbro to give us some wonderful characters, wonderful figures in this line. But I honestly think they could redo and give us generations type or generations level type of action figures and Transformers from the Robots in Disguise line. And finally, for the third installment of this trilogy, obviously, it has to be Transformers Prime. This is in my top 2, tied with Transformers Animated as my top favorite cartoons next to Generation 1. I love this show. I thought this show was amazing. It was a little bit dark at some points in there, but I do love how this show sort of goes back to the roots of Generation 1 and combines it with the edginess and the more modern feel of the movieverse. I love this. It's like movieverse done in cartoons, and it's a throwback to the old G1 cartoons. I wish they could do a Generation style type of action figure line or Transformers line for this cartoon series. It would be a nice cap to top off all the animated series. So it could be like Battle for Earth. We start with the animated line. I think that could be like the inspiration could come from animated. Then the second installment would be Robots in Disguise, and then finally it would cap off and culminate with the Transformers Prime inspired action figures and Transformers. This was a great show. It gave us one of the best action figures, animated action figures from the Transformers line. I really enjoyed it. It's just a shame I had to let this line go. When Generations came, I just felt that was the go-to line for me, and I didn't want to keep this line just for the sake of keeping it. I mean, there were a lot of figures here that I felt were 100%, but there were a lot of figures that I also did not appreciate as much. So I decided to let everything go. It was kind of, again, just like Studio Series was kind of like an all or nothing for me, so I had to let everyone go. Oh, that Predaking. Oh my goodness, that was a great one. If they could do like a Commander class Predaking, that Dragon Predaking, that would be amazing. We could have another Soundwave version of Shockwave. Megatron Optimus Prime. Yeah, the Predacons. Wow, this would be an interesting new set of figures if they can do like a Generations themed type of Predacons. And most importantly, I think they should redo that Vehicon. That Vehicon was one of the best, if not the best mold. As my buddy Christian says, one of the best Transformers mold out there is that RID Vehicon. And it was an amazing figure. I let it go. Kind of feel like I shouldn't. The first edition, the RID version, wow, this was an amazing line. I wish we could do another version. I mean, they had their flaws, but I think Hasbro can do a modernized update on these figures. Wow, just look at these guys. I remember my review of a couple of years ago, I think, of the Vehicons. I really enjoyed these figures. I really enjoyed this line, and it would be nice if we get to see modern takes, modern adaptations of these figures. So there you go, folks. That's my alternate prediction for another Generations trilogy, assuming the Unicron trilogy of Armada, Energon, and Cybertron does not come into fruition. I think Hasbro can also do an animated type of trilogy. It could, as I said, it's a Battle for Earth trilogy that's going to be inspired by figures from the animated line, from the Robots in Disguise line, and of course the Transformers Prime. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this alternate predictions. And then as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. If you want to help the channel out, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching.